Welcome to the third episode with me, Faisal, the founder of REMAX ZAM. Super excited today to have this conversation with Awad from Damac. As you know, Damac is one of the biggest brands in the country, and looking forward to having this conversation with Muhammad. Come with me. Welcome to the third episode of a candid conversation for REMAX ZAM, Dubai Real Estate Unfiltered. Super excited to have this conversation with Awad from Damac.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
Muhammad, it's great to have you on our conversation. It's always been great to have these conversations with you.
Pleasure.
And we thought, the whole idea of doing these series is for us to drive the market awareness, unfiltered, unbiased opinion of how things are shaping up. And we're talking to industry experts like yourself. So it would be pretty interesting to have this conversation. But before we get in, just a quick intro about yourself, please.
Pleasure to be here, Mr. Faisal. My name is Awad. I'm from Lebanon. I've been in Dubai for the past almost 18 years, which consider it like half of my life I lived in this country. I've been in the real estate market for the last 5 years as well.
Well, that's a fair amount of time for getting a proper insight and understanding of the market. So let's kind of get into the groove of it. Mohammed, we all in Dubai we're experiencing what's happening at the moment.
Sure.
Everyone's got a different perception at the moment. I just wanted to kind of get the understanding. You come from Damac, you represent Damac. What are you sensing across in the market currently, that's working, that's not working? I just wanted to get your understanding of what's happening in the market, and if you can tell us a bit about how Damac's reacting to the current situation.
See, currently, let's not avoid the fact of the tension that's happening in the region. Investors are still cautious. However, I can tell you that sales are still happening. Transactions are there. Demands is still there as well for Dubai. People trust Dubai for all what happened before, and we overcome every single crisis. So people, they do believe in Dubai, and things are slow, but it's still happening.
Absolutely, yeah. Things are slow, but it's still happening. So are you seeing that the deals that you guys have been working at Damac now, it's taking a bit longer than expected, or and that's the sentiments about investors in the market?
Kinda yes. Being investors are being more, they are cautious. They are being more selective. However, interested investors and serious buyers are still moving, and they are still very active currently in the market. Some of them, they are grabbing the opportunity where they can get some good deals here and there.
Yeah.
Especially when you are working with a strong developer, when you have a proper location, a prime location, people are grabbing it.
Absolutely. This is what we're also observing, that there are investors across the market who are pretty bullish, asking for really good opportunities, good deals. And there are certain investors in the market that are a bit skeptic. They're taking their own time to think, which is all fine. Look, everyone thinks in a different way. For you guys, are you looking at more of these kind of bullish buyers coming to you and saying that they want certain deals or negotiations on the table, or what kind of investors are you talking to at the moment?
See, mainly what we are receiving now are the investors who are looking for a long-term value. Short-term speculators, little bit, they are difficult, and they need to be careful in this time, because it's not the time for what is known of flipping. The term. It's not the time for this one. It's the time of a long-term investment and a long-term appreciation.
Yeah. No, I think that's such a common theme that we've been hearing, and what we've also been talking to the investors, that it's not the time for you to just come in and look at a capital appreciation and try to flip it across.
True.
But it's the time where you have seasoned investors that come in and they're there for the longer run, because we've seen the way that Dubai market is always shaped up.
True.
It's always shaped up, and we have no doubt that it's gonna
see. Real estate, even in good times, real estate is all about long-term appreciation.
Yeah.
It's not about flipping, but because the market in Dubai is a very fast pace, so people are getting used into the flipping thing and the short-term value. So I believe what's happening now is really beneficial.
Yeah.
It is really shaping the market into a better future.
That's right. You know, there's so much news which kind of also dictates how people start to think. There's a lot of negativity about, you know, what's happening onto it. While we live in Dubai, we're seeing the way that things are happening, right? Life is pretty normal, touch wood, you know, for us. And but how is that perception kind of impacting your business? Like, has that kind of created a slowdown in the business for you guys?
Yes, the market is slow. It's not as before.
Yeah.
People are being more selective when it comes to the properties that they are going to buy. And currently, sales are still happening, demand is still there, and the transactions are there. Like if you look into DLD transactions, we are not zero. We are still selling. People are still asking for properties.
Now we see Damac doing pretty well in the current times also, and I think it's based on the legacy that Damac's created. You know, you guys are one of the biggest in the market.
True.
And I think, you know, this also goes to the consumers' sentiments or investor sentiments to say, I was planning something with a new developer, but let me kind of stick with a renowned developer because the chances of me having my capital appreciation or making sure that my money works hard is better with a bigger developer, right? So do you kind of feel that you're lucky to be a part of Damac, which is a very solid brand in the current times?
100%. See, Damac has been in the market for the last 22 years, almost selling 23 years. This is not a joke.
Yeah.
Being in the market for such a long time, having this much experience in the market, we have experienced every crisis and every ups and downs in the market. Damac knows how to deal with such incidents. And in general, dealing with a big developer during the crisis times is one of the smart decisions. Big developers can really sustain, can really survive. Financially, they are powerful. Their reputation is there as well. So I believe this is one of the great opportunities where I'm really thankful that I'm being part of such a huge organization.
Yeah, that's good. How is, so internally from a Damac's perspective, right, with your construction, there's a lot of construction that you guys are doing. There are new launches that's happened recently, really good projects. Has that kind of impacted any construction? What's the status of your project completions or status at the moment?
We are still ongoing. Construction is still there. Our launches are still there. Like now we are launching today. I'm talking to you, and we are launching a new project as well. We didn't stop. We are still very active, and we are still running the market. We cannot stop.
And the launches that you have planned, is that still on the pipeline, or are you guys kind of making certain changes for the
Definitely there
projects?
are some adjustments. This is for sure.
Yeah.
However, we haven't stopped completely. We have replaced some projects. We are releasing some that were not in the pipeline, and some we have considered it in the upcoming quarter or whatsoever. We will see how it's going to be.
So, Mohammed, from a product perspective, you know, there are quite a few changes. You know, we're making certain changes in the way that we operate, and I'm seeing that developers are making certain changes. I'm curious to understand the changes that Damac is making based on the given market dynamics, just for your products, your pricing, your payment plans to be relevant to the current markets. What are you doing about it?
Basically, in Damac, what I can strongly tell that from the beginning, even before the crisis, our pricing was always designed to be in a stage where the investor will have a strong entry point. Aside from that, we are having also a very flexible payment plan that will also help the investor to not go heavy in their investment. Currently, in this situation, what we are now doing is we are launching some of our projects, which are having mostly the entry price ticket. We are focusing more into the low ticket price, low to medium. Somehow also we have a lot of requests for townhouses, which is always being in demand, whether there is a crisis or not. This kind of typology is always in demand in Dubai.
That's right. That's an interesting thing. So you are still focused in terms of your launches. You're still looking at your townhouses. I see that there's a lot of advertising still happening for Damac. You know, when I'm flicking
True.
across the channels
True,
on digital, there's a lot of advertising. Has your advertising spends been affected? Are you guys kind of reducing your advertising, or you're scaling up for more leads to come through? How's that shaping through?
So our advertisement, when it comes to budget, it's still the same. Nothing got changed. Our target for the meantime are being the residents and the locals, as well as the GCC, as they have already lived with us this crisis and they know what's going on in the market and in
Right.
Dubai.
Right.
They are aware about the fake news that's happening outside. So I believe we do have our focus on this kind of audience for the meantime.
So you are doubling down across on the residents and people who are
True.
well aware of the
True,
market
true,
realities.
true.
And I think that's what we're also hearing from a lot of different developers.
Yeah.
Is that the reliance on the international investors is slightly lesser,
True.
and the reliance on the investors which are in the country is going
True,
much higher,
true.
because they can see the reality. So I think that's really interesting. The other part is that all of us are doing our attempt to make sure that we are talking about improving the confidence just because of the news that's been played out. We
True.
feel that that's a bit too unreal versus what the realities are. So we're all
Correct.
kind of playing our role to understand and build confidence. I just need to understand, what is Damac doing at the moment to build this confidence and consumer sentiments in the market?
See, when it comes to the confidence, you cannot really narrow it down to the Damac or to whoever. Confidence, when we talk about confidence, we have to talk about the country itself, about what Dubai and the UAE have done to gain this confidence. When it comes to the safety, when it comes to the government stability, when it comes to the historical proofs of the previous crisis, all this uncertainty, it doesn't mean that the investment will stop.
Yeah.
It redirects it in a way that shows where Dubai and the UAE in general, being a primary destination, we have grabbed the attention of all those global investors. Yeah, when it comes to safety, to stability, and to the returns on their investments and their businesses. So in Damac, we definitely benefit from what the government is doing, and we do our part in a way or another in terms of our reputation to support this.
I mean, when you look at the volatility in the market when it comes to the gold rates or the oil prices, going up and down, I think that's where reputed developers and the investments in real estate is still a very strong focus area for investors, right?
Definitely.
So, Mohammed, as an industry expert and working at Damac, what do you see are the core opportunities currently for you guys in the market?
For the meantime, grabbing the opportunity of being more flexible when it comes to our payment plans. It's really a great opportunity. Some offers sometimes that the Mac provide here and there, also it could be a great catch for them. I believe that's it. Yeah, we can.
So you guys are showcasing more flexibility from a payment plan perspective, not so much per se on the deals, because we're seeing certain deals coming through in the market. So your flexibility is more towards the payment plans,
Exactly.
just to make it a lot more
We'll
effective.
make it easier. We'll make it like more flexible to the investors, to be managed, not in a heavy way.
Where do you see the market from here on? Like, we are all in this situation, but how do you see that things would change in the near future?
The market will be more steady. I don't see there could be aggressive spikes as it was happening before, but maybe more healthy and sustainable growth.
So, Mohammed, if you were to kind of give your advice, just maybe one advice across to, let's say, brokerage companies, and one advice to the investors in the current market dynamics, what would you put that across as?
Being more knowledgeable about the market, know where to invest, and know where to lead your investor to. This will gain the investor's trust. After all, what's going to happen later on in the future.
It's all about getting the right insights and providing that.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we see that this is exactly the zone for investors that they need a lot more support to talk about what's
True.
happening in the market. It's not about the same thing as just showcasing a project or just the launch is exciting enough for them to buy.
True.
I think it's a bit more hand-holding that we need to be doing for the investors right at the moment. So that's the zone that we are all in. But guys, that's the conversation with Mohammed. What we've learned from Mohammed is, again, the market seems to be pretty stable for Damac at the moment. Everything is on track. The construction is still happening on its track. We see that the market is trying to be a lot more flexible given the current market dynamics across on payment plans. So that's where we see that the market focus has been. The advice to the investors and to the brokerage companies is to be a lot more knowledgeable about the fact of making these investments, considering the volatility in in some of the other commodities. So real estate still remains a preferred choice for Dubai, and Damac has a legacy for the past 22 years, which is unshakable. So I think that's where the real zone is. But Mohammed, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Faisal.
And it's always a great pleasure to have these conversations with you. Thank you so much, Mohammed.
Thank you so much.